Hey guys, welcome back to another GTA Online video. My name is Saintsfan, and today the Criminal Enterprises update was released. We did a big old live stream earlier this morning where we sort of went over everything, all the new vehicles, all of the new missions, and we looked at some of the other stuff. But in today's video, or in this specific video, I wanted to go over which vehicles from this update, at least that were released today, that you shouldn't buy. So this is sort of a buyer beware, because there were technically six vehicles that launched today. Some of them are just terrible, and I just want to save you guys some money. So let's hop in. The first one we're going to start with is the one that's not actually a car. It's the helicopter, the brand new helicopter. I think it's called the Canada. So the Canada is a pretty expensive helicopter, and honestly, it's not worth it. So there's a buy it now price and a trade price. I think what you're seeing on my screen is the trade price, because if you do one of the new contact missions, you'll unlock it. But I think the regular buy it now is like 2.3 mil or something like that. It's a helicopter. It looks interesting. It can hold like 4 people, but the problem is it's just not better than any of the other vehicles that are in the game. Like, you can't spawn it next to you instantly like the Buzzard or like the Sparrow. It doesn't have flares or any sort of missile defense system like the Sparrow now does. The only positive to this vehicle is that it is really quick. I think it's actually probably the fastest helicopter now, but like, I mean, does that really matter? Are you going to be spending close to $2 million just to have a fast helicopter? Probably not. So that's why I sort of say to skip it, to not buy. It's not like a terrible vehicle. It's just, I don't know. Why would you really want to buy it? Unless you really want a new helicopter, then go for it. I believe there's also a few things of customization, like when you get it in your hangar. There's about 10 or so liveries, but that's it. There's no weapons, nothing else that you can put on it. So I would just save your money. Not really worth it in the end. The next vehicle we're going to take a look at is the new muscle car, the Bravado Greenwood. And this definitely, like, come on, this was cut from the Cops and Crooks DLC that was supposed to happen like a year or two ago. This was totally supposed to be a cop car. And it's got that vibe going. There's no cop car parts. Like, you can't put any sort of things that would indicate it's a cop car. Overall, it's a good car. It's not great, but there are some things you should know before purchasing it. You can see the price. This one also does have a buy it now and a trade price. The one you're seeing is the trade price, because you just have to play like the third mission, I think, of the new IAA stuff, and you'll unlock it. But it's $1 million with the trade price. I believe the buy it now price is like 1.4-ish mil. So not crazy expensive, but I think the big issue with this particular vehicle is that it's just, you have to know beforehand, it's an old school car. It's a muscle car. It ain't fast. It's not going to get you around the map very easily. But if you sort of know that, then it's actually a decent purchase. One of the huge benefits to it is that it has the Amani tech. It's one of 2 vehicles in this update that actually has the Amani tech. So if you do want to drive it around, you can at least be protected from people locking onto you. It also does have armored plating, which does increase a little bit, like the amount of rockets you can take. It's just so damn slow. And hopefully you see that sort of in the gameplay here. Driving it around the top speed. Like, if you're going in a straight line, it might eventually hit about 120 or so, but if you do any sort of turning, you lose all that momentum, and then it's just a slow start to get back to it. So as long as you know that going into it, that it's not going to be a great vehicle to really get around in, at least if you're not in a hurry, then yeah, it's just not a good buy. So probably for more casual people, you could probably skip, but if you do like the looks of it, it's got good customization actually as well. I forgot to mention that. The customization is pretty solid on it. But yeah, it's just the slowness is probably an issue for many people. So just make up your mind. It's a good vehicle, just it's slow. And then that brings us to the 4 new vehicles on the Legendary Motorsport website. And I'll just show all their prices here at once. So we have the Torero, the Corsita, the LM87, and the Omnis EGT. The Torero is pretty damn expensive at basically 2.9 million. The Corsita is 1.8 million. The LM8 is 2.9 mil, and then that Omnis is 1.8-ish mil as well. A lot of money for these cars. Some of them, 2 of them, I would say you can skip, just don't buy. One of them is almost a must-have, and then the other one is sort of just up to you. So let's start with the one you should buy, the Omnis EGT. I am in love with this thing. This thing is so much fun to drive around for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's got great customization. You bring it to you bring it to any car shop and you can customize it. It's got some good options, got some unique options. You can put a little roof rack thing up on top, which I like. It also has some great liveries, which is kind of rare. Seems like sometimes there's only like one good livery, but this one does have a decent amount of good ones. And the car itself, I mean, even without the customization, it's an Audi. It just looks beautiful. It's also 4 doors, so if you want to get around with friends, it's very easy to do that. Very convenient. And as far as like top speed, even for a 4-door car, I think I got it to close to 140 on a straightaway. So it does have top speed. Now, the one downside is the handling. Like when you're trying to turn, it's very stiff and it does feel very heavy, which makes the turns a lot harder to do. But I don't know. I didn't find that to be that big of an issue when I was driving it around. I think all of the pros far outweigh that one little con. And it's a great vehicle to own. It's 1.7 mil. And I didn't mention this, I don't think. This is the other vehicle with the Amani tech. That's mainly the reason why you should buy this vehicle, because we have a rare amount of those vehicles with Amani tech, and this is one of the better ones. So definitely pick this up for 1.8 mil. I mean, you're gonna have to spend a little bit more on that Amani tech. I think it's like 400, 500K, but it'll all be worth it, I think, in the end. And I do think most people will enjoy driving this vehicle around. Now, the second vehicle is the one that you just need to decide on your own, because it's a good vehicle. It's very expensive. And that's the Torero here. This is the new Lamborghini, and there's some people that love it, some people that hate the looks of it. It's sort of an interesting looking vehicle. The front is very controversial from what I've seen. Unfortunately, I can't show it because, well, I'm doing this stuff in single player. Don't ask how. I didn't get any footage. The lights can actually go up and down. They're animated, which is a very unique feature. It's very cool to see. But as far as sort of everything else, the customization is good. It's not great. I mean, it's got a ton of options, but they're all sort of very similar, so it doesn't really feel like there's a ton of options. You're really not going to be having too many unique looks. I will say the liveries on this one, much like the Omnis, I liked them a lot. They were very good. There was about 5 or so that I think I would have put on my car, so, you know, that's always a good sign. The one sort of downside with this particular vehicle is this forged carbon that Rockstar decided to make for this update. A couple of the cars and some of the drip fed cars are going to have this forged carbon. You can kind of see it on the back there behind the engine, on the sort of on the spoiler. It just doesn't look good, and that's what a lot of the customization has. And it just doesn't look good. It's kind of a waste. As far as like handling and speed and all that, look, it's fast. It's a supercar. It's fast. It goes fast enough. It handles really well. I mean, nothing great. It doesn't stand out, but it's not bad. You can definitely drive it around very easily. It's just a very easily driven car. It's just 2.9 mil plus all the upgrades, which is going to bump it over 3 mil. It doesn't have a Amani tech. I just don't think this is necessarily a vehicle you should buy at the moment unless you have a ton of extra money. Like, it's really good. It's just, I would maybe hold off until there's a sale, maybe a 30% off sale or something in the coming weeks, and maybe pick it up. But 3 million for any car is just a lot, especially if it doesn't have the Amani tech or if it doesn't have something new and fresh. I would just sort of skip it. Sure, it looks good. Again, great car, good customization, good liveries, good handling. It's just is good worth $3 million. That's going to be the decision you have to make. And then the two that I don't think you should buy. The first one is the Corsita. This is one I'm kind of disappointed by. I love the look of it, and I was talking about this in the stream. It looks great. I think it's based off of a Maserati, one of the newer ones, and it's got a great profile. It's just the handling is a mess. It's also not very fast to start. Like, the acceleration isn't that great. It does eventually get to a decent top speed. Like, I think we had like 140-ish or so, which is pretty good, especially for a sports car, which is what this is. The problem was any sort of turn, literally any sort of turn, and this thing wanted to spin out of control. It's got almost no grip. At least that's what it felt like to me. And that was very disappointing. I was definitely a little frustrated when I was trying to turn and the car just kept sliding all around. And that's sort of what makes this sort of a not buy, in my opinion, because if you can't if it's not fun to drive around, if it's very finicky, it's like, what's the point? I mean, if you just want to put it in your garage, I guess, sure, but you can't drive it easily. I don't think it's really worth it. I mean, sure, maybe if you like that sort of stuff, go for it, because it's got some decent other stuff. Like, the customization is pretty good. Again, nothing great. It's just good. It's average. It's got some unique aspects, like the spoiler here. They have a couple of unique options. I also think, and I don't show it, unfortunately, but I do think when I was customizing this, the exhausts are actually a little animated, like they move around, which is another unique thing. Not many cars have that. It's just, yeah, the driving is not that fun. Driving around, you're just sliding, slipping, losing control, and that's never a good thing. So I would hold off. Maybe if you wanted it, wait for a sale, but just know it's not going to be that great to drive around. And then that brings us to the final vehicle, the LM87. Now, this might be controversial. I'm sure, look, if you like these type of cars, you know, go for it, right? I mean, who am I to tell you? But for a casual player, just skip it. Don't even think about it. This thing is the most expensive car out of this update, at least so far, at 2.91 mil. And it's a joke as far as top speed goes. I went to the airport. This thing, I don't even think hit 120 miles an hour, and it's a supercar. Like, it's got traction. You can turn, and you will never lose control. It's just, what's the point of that if you're only ever going like 118, 117 miles an hour? That was the big turnoff for me. Plus, like, it's a one-seater car. It's just, I don't know. I don't like the look of it, which is subjective, but I just think holding off is the better option, because as you will find out tomorrow, I got some of the, I got some footage of the new unreleased cars, the ones that are going to be drip fed. There are some very good cars in that you definitely want to save your money for. So that's why I'd almost say wait on this vehicle. Probably wait maybe even on the Torero and some of these other ones. The only one I would definitely buy is that Omnis, but there are some real good cars coming in the next couple of weeks. So if you do want to check out the unreleased vehicles, then be on the lookout for my video tomorrow. I'll be going and showcasing all of those cars in game, actually, because I got it to work this time. But as far as the cars that were released today, yeah, it looks like there were kind of some duds. But let us know in the comments what you all think. Thank you guys for watching. Please drop the like if you did enjoy. Subscribe for more GTA content. And as always, I'll see you all in the next one.